Welcome back to Studio B54, where we discuss and review movies. Today we're going to be talking about Judas and the Black Messiah. Man, I was not expecting for this movie to hit me the way it hit me. Especially with everything that's been going on around the country for the last, right now, especially, but for the last couple of years, the police brutality that's out there, and then you find about this, you find out about this. This is information that we don't get taught at school. So, wow, this movie. What do we have? We learn about the Black Panthers in this movie, and we learn about Fred. Let me get his last name for you. I got his first name, but Fred Hampton. He was the chairman for the Black Panthers in Chicago, Illinois, in like the 60s, I think, 70s, right after the death of Mr. King. In the 1960s. I didn't know what I was going to think about this movie. It actually took me a while to get into it because it was kind of slow. I didn't go in knowing anything about it. After a while, it got me. It hooked me, it reeled me in, and it just kind of makes you angry. Like it really does frustrate you because the person I am most mad at in this whole movie is Roy and Bill. Okay, Roy is the FBI handler to an informant. Bill is the informant, and he is a criminal, I guess you would say, who infiltrated the Black Panthers. And this is hard for me, especially because I feel like I'm, I guess, like a devil advocate for everybody, and the way Roy took advantage of Bill is really bad, and he used them. But the kind of person Bill is too, it's aggravating. He's someone who really believes in self-preservation so much that he's willing to do it at any cost, and he sold his friend out. Someone who he would spend so much time with, being around the chairman, Fred, and saying he was down with him and he was his friend, but he tried to incriminate him with recording evidence. He tried to get him to blow stuff up, and it's hard because I've thought about this many times, thinking about it because I've thought about thinking many times. Anyways, I've thought about this because it's like you can't go at it the way Martin Luther King did. You expect change, but it's not there. It doesn't really happen. You're trying to be peaceful, and you become this great man, this idea, and then they kill you. They kill you because they can't control you. And then, on the other hand, you become like Malcolm X and the Crowns and the Black Panthers. You become kind of military-esque, and you want to fight for your freedom. And in the eyes of the government, you kind of want to make a coup in there. I think what they would want, and then they kill you because you're willing to fight. And I remember I was watching this, and as I wrote this, at what point do you stop being peaceful because the people in power keep moving the goalpost? When is it okay to be angry? You know, you can't always be disciplined and just turn the other cheek. But then again, if you do what one of the members did and you shoot at cops, then they call you a cop killer, you know, like, and it's hard because you are a cop killer. It's hard. It's hard to know how to move forward, and I think Fred had the best idea in that sense, where he says if the people are willing to move forward and change politics and change the government, then I think that's the best way. But then they also killed him. You know, they found two reasons to kill him. They either poisoned him or then they shot him. You know, they went into his house without what's it called? Without a warrant. They said 99 gunshots were fired by the police. One was shot by the Panthers, and they killed the man. For what reason? Because the idea of the man, he became so much more. They couldn't control him in prison. They couldn't control him out of prison. It's hard. Sorry, I'm so sick. Because then when you die, you become I think like a martyr. You become this symbol for this revolution. But I'm sorry, that revolution has not come. We are living in better times, and I feel super lucky to have said that I've never had encounters with police and police brutality, but you know, it exists in our country, and it exists in this city, it exists here. Um I really got bothered by how Roy he was talking with Bill, and he was talking to him, and he's like, he doesn't want the people, I guess the black people in his sense, to cheat their way to equality. What does that even mean? How do they cheat their way to equality? If they were just marching, after they tried to do all the peaceful things, they tried to do things a little more forcefully. That's not cheating. And how is that not the same for fighting for your freedom? And it's hard because when you're at the top, it's easy to be, especially when you're on top of other people, not just at the top. It's easy to see as everything else as a nuisance, and it's hard, you know, because it's an inconvenience. He could see it as like, oh, these people are rioting, or these people are doing this. They're just a bother, and it bothered me the way that the Roy's bosses talked to him. They're like, so Roy, how would you react if your daughter brought home an African American? She ain't bringing an African American to begin with, because, you know, it was stated that she'll not know to do that because that's not the right thing to do. And it's just aggravating. This whole movie pissed me off. It made me sad. It also made me think, what else is the government hiding? How many other assassinations have there been because the government wanted it to? How many times have they colluded with other people? This brings us back to conspiracies, the JFK conspiracy, Watergate. that's a whole different story. We're start talking about just things like that, and it gets weird. It gets weird because it's like, who knew who. Sometimes the CIA is involved, sometimes the FBI is involved, and these are people that you have in the shadow and the top of the government pulling strings. That's stuff that we don't even know that's going on right now, or they want people assassinated that we don't even know who's on their radar. It's just kind of scary if you think about it. Like that's also made me think about this movie. But what ultimately I got from it was just how mad I was at Bill. And then there's another interview that they show him, and he's like, I don't think I did anything wrong. And then a couple of days later, the interview comes out, and then he commits suicide because I think deep down in his heart he knew what he was doing the whole time was wrong. He sold out his family, his friends, and his people. Even though he said he was down for the cause, even though he says that people like me or any other person shouldn't they be able to judge him because he did what he did with the knowledge and the facts that he had at the time. But you could also act not to do anything. Either join, just the self-preservation of this man trying to keep himself clean, trying to make it seem that he had no options. But there's so many options, and I feel like it made me think of this man he was just kind of I don't even want to say a coward, but yeah, a coward who really only cared about himself. And at the end of the day, when this documentary came out about him in the 90s, that really showed a perspective of the person he was, then that's when he committed suicide. Great movie overall. I know I said I was going to watch The Hunt, but this one was on HBO, and I think it made me want to watch it, It's hard because we're all just people, and I don't even know what to say at the end of the day. I don't want to rate this movie. I do want to rate it because it was a good movie. It has a good message, and I feel like it's more of like a documentary kind of a thing. So I give it a 8.5 out of 10. You should watch it. It's a little hard to get into. I'm sorry, it really is, especially for me. And I feel like I'm like a movie documentary junkie person. But not knowing a lot of the background of this person, I still really suggest you guys watch it. Yeah. Fuck Bill. Peace.